Imagine being just 10 years old and ripped away from your family. No warning, no way out. Suddenly, your name, your voice, even your body belonged to someone else. That was real life for thousands of young girls in ancient Rome. They were treated like objects, forgotten by history. But today, we are telling their story, origins of enslavement and early life. In ancient Rome, slavery was everywhere. But for young girls, the path into slavery was especially cruel. Some were kidnapped during wars or raids. Others were sold by desperate parents who could not afford to feed them. Many were born into slavery, never knowing freedom for even a single day. These girls could be as young as 5 or 6 when they were taken. Imagine the fear. One moment they are clinging to their mother's hand, and the next they are loaded onto carts or ships bound for Roman markets. No one explained what was happening. No one cared. Once they arrived, they were displayed like merchandise. Buyers examined their teeth, their hands, even their bodies. A young age made them more valuable because they could be trained and controlled more easily. From the start, life was not just unfair, it was terrifying. These girls did not lose only their homes, they lost their identities, their voices, and any sense of safety, legal status, and lack of personhood. In Rome, slaves were not considered people. They were property. That meant young girls had no legal rights at all. They could not say no. They could not speak up. They could not even defend themselves in court. Roman law treated them like tools. If they were beaten, starved, or abused, there were no consequences for the owner. A slave girl could be punished or sold at any time, for any reason. Even their names were taken away. Some were called by numbers or by their role in the household. Others were given simple nicknames by their owners. To the law, they were invisible. And when the world sees you as nothing, surviving becomes a daily battle. Daily life and labor of young girls. Once inside a Roman household, a young slave girl's life was full of endless work. Some were sent to farms, where they hauled water, collected firewood, and tended animals under the hot sun. Others were kept inside as housemaids, cleaning, cooking, and serving meals from dawn until late at night. Girls with a steady hand might be trained to spin wool or weave fabric. Those with a calm voice might care for the master's children. But no matter the job, the rules were strict, and the punishments for mistakes were harsh. There was no school, no playtime, and no safety. Even sick or injured girls were expected to work. Older female slaves sometimes helped train the younger ones, but kindness was rare. Everyone was just trying to survive. Every task, every chore was about obedience and silence. The girls learned quickly to not complain, to not talk back, and to not cry too loudly. The wrong word at the wrong time could mean a beating or worse. Living conditions and physical hardship. Most young slave girls slept wherever there was space, on hard floors in kitchens or even under staircases. If they were lucky, they had a blanket. If not, they used rags or nothing at all. Privacy did not exist. Comfort was not a concern. Food was basic and barely enough. Leftovers, cold porridge, maybe bread. If they were caught stealing more, they risked harsh punishment. Beatings were common, often with whips or sticks. Some were branded with hot irons to mark them as property. The pain was unbearable, but they were expected to stay silent. Even small mistakes could bring cruel consequences. Drop a dish and get slapped. Fall asleep while working and get kicked. Some owners used chains to control them. Others locked them in tiny storage rooms as punishment. Their bodies were pushed to the limit every single day, and their suffering was not hidden. It was normal. In ancient Rome, pain was not only part of their lives, it was built into the system. Sexual exploitation and reproductive roles. In many houses, the most feared rule was simple. The owner controlled a slave girl's body. Puberty made her more vulnerable. Some were forced into the master's bed. Others were rented out to brothels or clients. No consent, no protection, no voice. The law did not shield them. It backed the owner. Pregnancy changed everything, yet nothing. A child carried by a slave mother became the property of the owner at birth. Some owners encouraged births to grow their household workforce. Some forced abortions or sent girls to midwives who would end the pregnancy. The risks were deadly. Many girls were still children, and childbirth killed the young. Sometimes a girl was kept as a concubine. That could mean better food and fewer beatings. It also meant control. A smile could keep you safe for a night. A frown could end your safety. Every hour came with a choice that was not a choice. Submit and live, resist and suffer. Somewhere in that silence, a question grows. How do you keep a soul alive when your body is not yours? Psychological trauma and resistance. Fear was not just a feeling, it was a routine. A girl learned to listen for footsteps, for keys, for the quiet that meant danger. Sleep came in short bursts. Nightmares did the rest. Some forgot their native words. Others whispered them in secret, trying to hold on to the person they had been. Yet even in that darkness, resistance found a path. A broken tool here, a hidden loaf there, a warning glance to a friend, small acts invisible that said, I am still here. Some ran, some tried, some chose the river rather than return. Stories spread like sparks. A nurse who swapped herbs for a beating, a weaver who slowed the loom until the day felt longer. Hope did not roar. It flickered, it moved hand to hand. The question remained, how do you survive without freedom? First you remember your name, then you protect someone else's. Possibility of manumission and its limits. Some girls heard a word that sounded like a miracle. Freedom. Manumission happened, but not often. A master might free a girl for loyal service or to reward a favored concubine. Some were freed in a will. Even then, freedom could come with strings, like lifelong duties or debts. If the owner changed his mind, hope vanished. For most, freedom was a story told in whispers, not a door walked through. Case studies and inscriptions. Archaeology gives us voices that Rome tried to quiet. On stone tablets and grave markers, we find names, ages, and hints of lives cut short. One inscription mourns a boy who lived 5 years, 2 months, 6 days, and 6 hours. Others remember girls labeled as domestic slaves, praised for obedience they never chose. The word verna appears often. It means a slave born inside the household. For a girl, that meant no memory of freedom at all. In Pompeii and Ostia, cramped workrooms and storage spaces match the stories. Loom weights and spindle whirls tell us who worked there. Household shrines sometimes show small figures in the background holding jugs or cloth. They look calm. Their stillness hides truth. A girl might be honored in stone after dying unnamed. Conclusion. Rome called it order. The girls called it surviving. Behind marble temples were kitchens, cellars, and small hearts that kept beating. We cannot fix their past, but we can face it, remember their stolen names, tell their stories, and ask ourselves, who are we if we look away right now?